In this video, you will learn how to set up the basic framework of your store theme. To say it even more simply, you'll change the way it looks to match how you want it to look. This video will be broken down into 4 parts. Part 1 will go over theme options. Part 2 will go over framework settings. Part 3 will go over update framework. Part 4 will go over backup settings. As we begin, keep in mind a few things. First of all, this video will be most relevant to the free woocommecre theme, which I have chosen for this tutorial. Second of all, even if you do not use woocommecre but choose another template instead, then this video will still be relevant, as the options are mostly the same across all themes, with the exception of a few variations. And another thing, don't become obsessed over the finest details of the site just yet. While you want a fine diamond, you always start with a rough cut. I promise you, the more time you spend working on your site, the better it looks. For now, just take notes on what strikes you as the most interesting or important point. One last thing. Some of the 4 parts will be longer than others. It's okay to come back and rewatch parts of this as you revisit these 4 parts. Let's begin. Part 1. Theme options. Theme options is the first of 4 subsets of the woocommecre menu, which allows you to configure how your store looks. These are overarching settings that do not require you to add any products yet. You can apply your desired theme options to your theme and then add products, or you can add products and then apply your desired theme options. The order doesn't matter. But here's a pro tip. If you have products already added, it makes it easier to see changes done to your store. Under Custom Logo, you can choose a file to upload instead of the text-based header that you have on your site right now. You can also specify a URL to an image that you wish to use. By default, you have the text title enabled. You can disable it by unchecking the checkbox. Custom Fave Icon is where you can upload the icon that appears in people's bookmarks and their URL bars while they browse your site. By default, woocommecre does not provide one for you. It's not critical that you have it, but it does earn you points in the eyes of your visitor who will see your professionalism. This should be a small image, no larger than 32 by 32 pixels, preferably .png or .ico format, and with a transparent background. Note that those are merely suggestions, not rules. Under tracking code, you can place an HTML code that is given to you by your analytics software. This is important if you want to keep track of your visitors using a third-party service. Under RSS URL, you can enter your FeedBurner URL. If you don't have one, you can get one at feedburner.google.com for free. This is not critical for getting started. Email subscription URL is where you enter your Aweber, MailChimp, GetResponse, or any other email subscription service URL. If you don't have one, you can get one for free from MailChimp.com. It does have a paywall, but not until you have a few thousand subscribers. Contact form email is where you enter your email address if you want people to be able to email you from the Contact Us email form. Easy Contact is one example of a WordPress plugin that allows you to add a contact page to your site. Custom CSS is for advanced designers and programmers. We're not going to touch it for now, but I will say that if you are a developer or want to hire one, this is the area where you or they can mess with the default settings of your site, like fonts, colors, borders, images, links, and so on. Search scope is where you define the parameter of the search box on your site. Post page comments lets you moderate whether there are comment boxes on your pages and posts. Post content lets you shorten the length of your homepage by optionally using just an excerpt with a link as the homepage advertisement of your article. The post author box enables or disables the post author box on a single post's page. If you're building a persona for yourself, keep it checked. If you're only selling things, keep it unchecked. The display breadcrumbs is arguably the most vague option in this first part. Most people leave this box unchecked, and it's actually a powerful weapon that many internet marketers don't know about. It's built into most WooThemes products, but there are fewer people using it than not. Breadcrumbs are a euphemism for the product path that the visitor has reached by looking at your product. In other words, it is the footprint of how the visitor got to your product, or rather, which category you have placed that product in. Breadcrumbs allow you to easily guide the visitor to related items in similar categories. It also simply tells them where they are on your site. Pagination style gives you two ways to separate pages once you list so many products that they all don't fit on one page. That's it for general settings. Now, click on Homepage Settings. Uncheck Homepage Content if you don't want to display your latest post on the homepage above the slider. Under Homepage Featured Products, you can choose one of two options on how to show off products that you will mark as featured. Under Featured Entries, you can select the number of entries that should appear in the featured slider or grid. That's it for Homepage Settings. Now, click on Styling Options. Up top, you can choose any background color you want. Next, we have two values between 0 and 1 that define the opacity of two shadow effects. The first one has to do with your menu. The second one has to do with your site body. Let me show you. By default, these are set to 0.3. Let's see what happens when we set them to 0.9, just for the sake of comparison. But before we do that, let's preview our site as is. First, let's change menu footer opacity. Pay attention to the navigation menu in dark blue. Take a look at how it changes. Do you see the difference? The menu just got darker. Watch me do it again. I'm going to set it back to 0.3 and you will see how it shifts back to being light. Second, let's change container shadow strength. Pay attention to the background shadow that is behind the content. Do you see the difference? The shadow behind the main box just got darker. Watch me do it again. I'm going to set it back to 0.3 and you will see how it shifts back to being light. If you don't want a solid color but would rather have a background image, then you can do that as well. Under background image, you can upload an image for the theme's background. Background image repeat option allows you to choose one of 4 ways to display that background image. If you are using a solid color, this and the next 2 options are irrelevant, but I will explain them just in case you do use an image. No repeat means your background image will not stretch horizontally or vertically. In this case, X and Y are used the way you would use them to plot a graph, like an axis. X is horizontal and Y is vertical. Repeat X means your background image will stretch horizontally. Repeat Y means your image will stretch vertically. Repeat means your image will repeat itself both vertically and horizontally. Background image position is pretty self-explanatory. Background attachment lets you choose whether the background should be fixed or move when the page scrolls. Link color and link hover color allow you to pick custom colors for your links. The first box to choose a color of your links, and the second box is to choose the color that will change once you hover with your mouse over those links. That's it for styling options. Now, click on typography. If you do not like the fonts that are supplied by default with Wootique, this is where you can change them. To enable this, you must check the box up top. If you change the values on this page but do not check that checkbox, you will not enable this feature. That was pretty easy. That's it for typography. Now, click on Layout Options. There are only 3 things here, so this section will be brief, just like the last one. Under Main Layout, you will get to choose how the sidebar will be positioned on your site. You might not see it on your homepage, but you will see it on your subpages. Under Category Exclude, Homepage, you can specify a comma-separated list of category IDs or slugs that you'd like to exclude from your homepage. Under Category Exclude Blog Page Template, you can specify a comma-separated list of category IDs or slugs that you'd like to exclude from your blog page template. That's it for layout options. Now, click on Dynamic Images. Leave this as is. You don't need to change anything to get started. In this area, you get to mess around with how WordPress resizes your images to make them fit your visitors' various browsers. The purpose of this function is to accommodate all browsers and operating systems. That's it for dynamic images. Now, click on Footer Customization. Footer widgets are blocks of text that you can put below your store items, but above the copyright line. You can have 1, 2, 3, or 4 sections. I recommend 2 or more for SEO reasons. If you want to promote Woo Themes, you can register on woothemes.com and get an affiliate link that will credit you commissions for Woo Themes related sales. You can also have text that is left justified or right justified. You must enable it manually if you want it. That's it for footer customization. Now, click on Subscribe and Connect. This is where you can create a call to action to sign up to your list. You can enter your title, description, and a FeedBurner ID for your FeedBurner link, or a MailChimp list subscribe URL for your MailChimp account if you have one. Down below, you have some social media options as well. This concludes part 1. You now can adjust your theme options, and you may revisit this page at any time. Part 2. Framework Settings. Framework Settings is the second subset of the Wooteek menu, which allows you to adjust secondary Wooteek options. Click on Admin Settings. Under Super User, enter your main admin username. This is a security feature that you must enable before you start selling. Disable Backup Settings menu item is also a security-related option. Theme Update Notification and Woo Framework Update Notification are convenient ways to stay ahead of hackers. Checking these boxes will allow WordPress to tell you automatically when you should update your software. Click on Theme Settings. Remove Generator Meta Tags. This checkbox lets you avoid being targeted for WordPress vulnerabilities by removing a generator tag from your source code. This is a security feature that you may want to enable. Image Placeholder. This has to do with branding. Instead of the default image placeholder for items with no images, you can have your own image. Here are some ideas. You can have an image that says, "Check back soon," or "Out of stock this week," or "Subscribe to get notified when more stock arrives." Disable shortcode style sheet and output tracking code option in header. Don't touch the 2 checkboxes at the bottom of the page unless you know why you are disabling these items. Notice that the first checkbox asks you to opt out of shortcodes and the second checkbox asks you to opt in. Click on Branding. Here you can customize more images to really stand out from the sea of shops out there. You can also change your login page link and login title as you wish. This is total customization right here. Click on WordPress Toolbar. Disable WordPress Toolbar is recommended to be checked so that logged-in users aren't reminded that they're using WordPress. If you do not check it, the black bar at the top of the window that you see here will show up to regular, non-admin users if they register for your site and log in. Enable the Woo Framework Toolbar enhancement. This is for advanced users and it allows you to change the way the Woo Themes displays the options that we just covered. Click on Press Trends. This is an optional checkbox in case you don't mind sharing your usage data with Woo Themes. This concludes Part 2. You can now adjust your framework settings, and you may revisit this page at any time. Part 3. Update Framework. Update Framework is the third subset of the woocommecre menu, which allows you to download and extract the latest Woo framework files to your current themes. This will be the shortest part as it is self-explanatory. Anytime Woo Themes comes out with an update, this page is where you will download the update from. Note, it is recommended that you back up your theme files and update WordPress to latest version before proceeding. This concludes Part 3. You now know how to update your shop at any time. Part 4. Backup Settings. Backup Settings is the fourth and final subset of the woocommecre menu, which allows you to back up your site's settings, but not the content. I repeat, this does not back up your site content, only the settings. You can also import a previous export here. But first, to export a file, all you have to do is click one button, and woocommecre will do the rest for you. This is particularly useful if you want to start a few websites that you want to look exactly alike. This concludes Part 4. You now can adjust your backup settings. You may revisit this page in the future if your backup needs change. That's it for this video. Go to video 5 to continue.